going on, everybody? I am Mr. Saturn, and I have another cool interview for you. The one, the only, Mr. Jeff Houston.
Oh, me. Oh, okay. Okay. Want to make sure that you were actually talking about me and not somebody like next to me, like, hey, he's right here.
Yes, really from my arm around. um, Thank you so much for joining me today on Sunday. Yeah, I gotta admit, you surprised me when I got the phone call. It's like getting a call from like a president or something. Oh man, what? What was going on? What's going on? So I appreciate you, Jeff. I appreciate you so much.
Well, then I'm one pretty sad freaking president if that's the basis of comparison, but I appreciate it
Oh man.
nonetheless, Mr. Saturn.
All right, man. Let's get right into it. I have a lot of questions. I want to get to know you.
Good.
So let's go to the past, man. What was your childhood like? Where'd you grow up? Tell me about that.
Before I get into that, let me let everybody know that there is a disclaimer that goes with listening to Mr. Live Worldwide, and that disclaimer is I take the scenic route to get to my point. I am not a flash knockout to the point kind of guy. I take the scenic route around the river, around the lake. Shit, I'll go around the ocean. But I'm just letting everybody know that disclaimer ahead of time takes me a while. I like telling stories. Um, I grew up in Rockford, Illinois, about 2 hours outside of Chicago. My first 11 years were in the frozen tundra that is Rockford, Illinois. Thank the Lord I'm not there right now as far as temperatures are concerned. That place right now, man, it's like being backstage on the movie The Thing. Oof, so cold. So cold. But very typical childhood for me, man. I'm going to tell you, two loving parents, younger brother, father passed away early when I was 11 years old. And then we made the move to San Antonio, Texas, where my mother's family is from. And pretty much, as far as childhood goes, I had your atypical childhood. I mean, I was naive. I got beat up a lot. When you're a loudmouth like me, you get beat up a lot, and that's just the way that it goes. So I have come to terms with that, even at 47 years old. So no problem there. But atypical, all American family, atypical all American town at the time. I wouldn't want to go back to Rockford now. Unfortunately, it has descended into a crime-ridden city, unfortunately, and it sucks because when I was growing up in the '80s and in the late '70s, early '80s, man, it was just cool because nobody was out to get you. Nobody had any agendas. Nobody had any trigger warnings or microaggressions. We lived life.
I mean, I was born in 1987, so I hear those were better days back in the 80s, maybe 70s,
Well,
90s.
considering that the year that you were born, I was almost 10 years old, and I was at WrestleMania 3, Andre versus Hulk Hogan at the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan. So, yeah, they were really something. Growing up in the '80s is cool. I would have liked to have had a little bit more of the '70s, mind you, but I'm not going to bitch and complain because the '80s were a great time to be a kid.
Would you say that, I mean, obviously you can actually say that the way you grew up kind of shaped where you were headed as an adult, right? I mean, being a loudmouth, Just-
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. Because the thing about it is, Mr. Saturn, I had no direction. You have to have a direction in order for something to inspire you to go after. That's the problem. I was very, very beetle headed back in the time. Maybe you could call that a synonym for stupid. I don't know. But all I know is that I was very misdirected as a child, and that was not the fault of being brought up with a with a widowing mother. None of that. I don't put any blame on anybody except the person that is breathing and talking to you right now, which is myself. So it fell into my lap accidentally. Now, I had always appreciated the position itself, because I loved ring announcers that were able to, take a crowd from volume 50 to volume 250, like with just a few well placed words. And I thought, man, he didn't even have to throw a single punch. What a cool job. And it always been there, but did I pursue it? Not at all. Not at all. It came into me by accident one day, and it just little supernova that nobody knew was going to happen happened. That's pretty much it, man. I mean, it's very simple. I'd love to have a big in lights on the marquee Jeff Houston story,
Yeah.
but but if I had that, people would be very disappointed because it would be a very, very short documentary as far as before Mr. Live Worldwide. I truly believe that the best years of my life have been on the microphone. The best
How,
years of my life have definitely 190% been on the microphone.
how did you even come to be this announcer? You know, what are the steps, or how did you? I mean, just walk us through something like that. What is it like?
Well,
How did,
you don't get to the steps until you get to them. You actually have to get to the staircase in order to know what the steps are. Anybody who says any differently doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. So the way it's interesting because you got to obviously you could do it with mixed martial arts, boxing. It doesn't matter. I mean, if combat sports is the way that you want to go, you got to get your feet wet at the lowest point possible. And a lot of these kids, this next generation that's coming up as ring announcers, they don't understand. You got to pay your dues. Now, are there more opportunities now than there were back when I was when I was younger and in my formative years of ring announcing? Absolutely. There's actually more opportunities now. Because of the explosion of social media, there are so many other different outlets in combat sports that have been created as a result of that social media. So there are more jobs for people who have been on the job with less experience. I didn't do my first international I didn't do my first international televised event until 2010, and that was already 7 solid years into my profession. 7 years, and it took me that long because the fact that you got to pay your dues and you got to keep your eyes open. But unfortunately, like on like the smaller shows, the regional shows, you come into a lot of we've already got our guy, or we have a local DJ that's announcing for us, and we get airtime for free. We get that. I can't compete with that, unfortunately, because that's pushing it out there. But it's a short term fix when you get someone like that because that's not somebody that's going to grow with the product. That's somebody that's just coming in to save you a couple of bucks here and there, but they're not going to actually grow and become synonymous with that product. You know what I mean?
Mhm. What It's very interesting because when I finally got to get that picture with you after
Hmm.
Knucklemania, you were doing a job for Savant Young over at
And
Provable
Herb Dean. Yep.
and Herb Dean. That's right. That's right.
Hmm.
How did you connect with these guys? How did that connection even come to be? That's a pretty cool.
Herb Herb's a long time road brother. I've known Herb for about 10. I've known Herb for it'll be 10 years now. Um, we started off with I met Herb Dean officially at Road FC when I started on with Road FC, South Korean MMA promotion, and the first time he and I worked together was over Christmas in 2015 in Shanghai, I believe it was. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it was a really cool. We got to hang out for Christmas Day because Christmas is not publicly celebrated in China. So we had to do the best with what we had. So we found ourselves at just a little after midnight on Christmas Day at a Chinese Hooters, knocking back Jägermeister and watching the Chinese Hooter girls attempt to sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas."
Oh man.
Seriously, it was like a Christmas story. Deck the hallway, bow up. No, not rah rah rah, la la la. It was almost it was almost that, and it was perfect. It was just what a cool way to meet such an icon like Herb is to the world of MMA. Congratulations to Herb again for winning the MMA Referee of the Year again.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the best that there is, and we've gotten to know each other over work over 5 different continents. So That's pretty cool. And because I had worked so closely with Herb, he was telling me, with his longtime business partner at the time, and friend Savant Young, he was telling me that they were opening up an avenue for amateur MMA because they had such an incredible MMA gym. You know, the Pasadena MMA is a great gym, and they turn out a lot of top-notch athletes. They wanted to have an outlet for their athletes to get that amateur MMA experience. So they started up the Proving Grounds. They started up the Proving Grounds, and I've done two of their events. Unfortunately, they kind of had parted ways as far as business goes. So I know that Herb is still interested in wearing the promoter hat again. So when that time comes, I'll definitely be there, man, because Herb and I, we gel, man. I mean, he's a cool he's a cool cat. I love his family, and what else can I say about the man other than that he's the best?
In the time you guys work together, other than the Christmas time that you in China, you have any funny or interesting stories you want to share about Herb Dean? How
Herb
did
is
you
the kind
guys?
of guy. Herb is the kind of guy. If I'm going to share a funny story, I'm going to let him know about it first
Okay, that's
because
fair.
you have to understand when you're the number one MMA referee in the world, and there's no disputing that. Um, you have to be careful what is said, over any form of social media. So the best that I can say is that we've been able to have some really really cool moments together. One of which was when we were in Nottingham, England, and we had a chance to go to Europe's oldest inn and bar, which happens to be in Nottingham, and it's called Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem, and it's a bar and an inn in the caves that Robin Hood was said to have, put all of his treasure hoards that he stole.
Wow.
So it was
Okay.
an underground connection of caves, and being able to have a couple of pints with Herb Dean in the Robin Hood caves, that was pretty damn cool,
That's
man.
pretty cool.
That's pretty that's really cool. And we've done shows all over. I mean, Herb and I have done shows in, oh my goodness, I could say China, Russia, Azerbaijan, um, my God, Chechnya. There's
Mm.
just Italy. I mean, just there's so many different countries and continents that we've been to because of the a few respected promotions that I worked for. Because not only did he work for Road FC, but he also worked with ACA MMA. In my opinion, one of the best MMA organizations on the planet. They absolutely take A+ care of their fighters. They take good care of all of us, but unfortunately, with the current situation in Russia, it's not exactly the safest time for an American to head on over there. So when that subsides, I'm back there 100% helping them out.
Let's bring it back to your younger years. Did you attend a college or any kind of school with voice or anything, or that's just all you?
Nope, nope. I did one semester of college and I hated it. I hated it. I absolutely could not stand it because I knew if I am going to do something, I know what I will possibly want to do will not require a college degree. Now, I'm not saying I'm not shitting on any kind of college degree for anybody. If that's the route that you want to go, that's the route that you want to go. It's just that wasn't my route. I just didn't have the patience for it. I figured at my age, you know, going back to school didn't have any it didn't have any payoff for me. And I just happened to come across this, and I was just like, there are no training methods. There's no schools that you can go to. So no, I didn't go to anything. I do not have a background in broadcasting at all. I do not have a degree. I do not have A lot of announcers have degrees in broadcast journalism. I do not, because I did not want to go the route of the commentator. Now, you see, if I wanted to be a top-notch commentator, then having a broadcast journalism degree, that makes sense. That makes 100% sense, because that is the necessary collegiate training that you need to succeed in this field, and it always helps. But as for a ring announcer, for me, dude, it's just always been there. It's always been there, but it was in its raw state. It was undisciplined. Basically, it's a voice that everybody said I had a great voice, but I had no idea what to do with it or the right way to do your job from moment one to moment done. So that was a big thing about it, is finding your voice, finding your cadence, and finding you as a professional. What is the professional that you want to be moving forward, that you want, if you get the opportunity to show your talent to the world, then what do you want the world to see of you? What do you want the world to know? I figure who you are answers that question right there.
Jeez,
What do you
Jeff.
want to be?
That was good. That was good. Felt like you were just talking directly at me and not the viewers as well.
I am
uh,
talking to you, man. I don't see any background right there. You got that fancy BKFC background
oh
with me in
man,
the center.
you
You think
see
I give
that?
a damn about that? I'm talking to Mr. Saturn.
Woo! Oh man. No, well, I felt that. Tell me, tell us about your first time being the ring announcer and what was it like? Were you nervous? What was it like?
Well, I wasn't the ring announcer my first time. That's for damn sure. But
Right.
I'm just messing with you. It was in a Mexican meat market, a carniceria, in front of maybe 30 or 40 people, if that. I don't even think it was that many. Independent pro wrestling show. I wasn't nervous at all. I was excited. I've never been nervous a day in my life on the microphone. Not even the first day. I've never had the butterflies in the stomach. People talk about that, and I can't relate because I've never had it. I'm sure it sounds somewhat uncomfortable and unnerving, but for me, it's never happened to me. I've never been nervous a day in my life from what I've done because I've just had this enhanced excitement of things. It's just enhanced this much more and that much more, and it just keeps rising and rising until I get a chance to explode on the microphone. And also, I'm not speaking specifically explode on the microphone. I mean, some people are going to look at that in real dirty ways. Let them.
Cochino.
Let them look at that way, because what I have a specific meaning to that explosion, and that is for the fighters, for the fans. But you know something, Mr. Saturn, this is what I say. Why can't I be a rock star at what I do? Why can't I? I'm not trying to make the show about me. It's impossible for me to make the show about myself. You know why? Because everybody paid to come see the fighters. That's how it works. So therefore, I never believe that I'm taking anything away from the show. I am adding to the moment. That's what I'm doing. I'm not adding to myself. I'm adding to the moment, because it's all about the moment. It's not about me. I'm incidental, but what I bring adds to the moment. And that's what it is. Why would you not want a rock star introduction? Why would you not want somebody giving every single thing in his heart and his body and his soul into that performance for somebody who is going to go out there and potentially risk their life at what they do? You never know what can happen in the ring. It is that unpredictable. So why shouldn't I give them a rock star entrance? That's not about me. All the insecure, marks on there think that, when I go, a little bit further, that they think that I'm making it about myself. It could be anything further from the truth. I'm a performer. I am an entertainer. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. I'm going out there and I'm giving. You've seen me after the shows. I'm wiped out.
Yeah.
I'm beyond wiped out, because mentally and physically I give it all out there, but I don't have to do a 360 to get people's attention, because it's not about that. It's about the voice, the heart, and what's upstairs. That's what it's about. Damn.
Yeah, we're gonna have to clip that one. That was great.
It's the
Oh man.
truth.
What about, well, how did you even start with BKFC? How'd that door open up? Tell us about that.
That door opened up with the greatest referral in my professional career from one of my best friends in the game, Sean Wheelock.
Mm.
Sean and I we had started off around the 2015 time together, and we had been working with Roy Jones Jr. Boxing Promotions, and that's how he was really trying to come over into boxing a little bit more, because everybody knows Sean Wheelock's synonymous with soccer and mixed martial arts. I mean, he was a soccer commentator at the beginning, and a fantastic one on top of that. I mean, because soccer was his true love, and he fell into mixed martial arts, and he ended up becoming the quintessential voice of Bellator. And now he's become the quintessential voice of BKFC. You know, So I mean, along with myself, I mean, you got to look who we have on our broadcast. We have got Sean Wheelock with a bigger mountain of available knowledge at the top of his head than anybody I've ever met. We've got Chris Lights Out Lytle, UFC legend, a man who has never been knocked unconscious in his professional life. I still can't believe how that's possible, because I have seen the legends and monsters he's fought, and he's been able to look at them with a smile on his face. And I'm just like, that is one bad MFer, man. Let me tell you that. And then we got Cyrus Fees, a fellow ring announcer. He's making more of a shift over towards the commentator role and the host role. And I tell him every day of the week and twice on Sunday, Cyrus, you are a better host than I could ever be. He just has that it factor when he hosts, man. I mean, it's wonderful to have him on board with BKFC. So, I mean, if you look at that, the resume going on there, the resumes between the four of us, it can't be overlooked.
You guys have an amazing team. I follow all you guys, and I'm actually I'm going to the training seminar next weekend. I think on the
Oh,
11th.
very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
So
Very good.
I'm trying to get in as any way I can. I like I said, I see you guys working together. I'm like, I want to be there. I don't care what I got to do, but I'm gonna be there. So definitely, there's a huge inspiration that comes from you guys and watch you guys work, and I love it. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm gonna let everybody else know about the same too. So you have a good work relationships with your coworkers. So tell us something, or can you tell us anything interesting about your maybe something behind the scenes when you're working with them or at BKFC? Anything interesting you want to share?
We're the real articles. What you see is what you get. You know, uh, we are not in the upper echelon on the executive staff with BKFC. So the majority that happens within BKFC, I don't even know. I have no idea. I mean, I'm told almost when it's told to the entire team. I mean, I figure only the executive team knows the preliminaries when it comes to anything new or anything exciting coming to that. But, backstage, I'd love to be able to tell you more, Mr. Sander. But the one thing that I'd have to tell you first and foremost is that I am in such tunnel vision mode when it's time to work. You'd be amazed at how many things are passing by me, and my blinders are completely on. I'm not. I mean, you have to reach out to me and say hello. You have to come up to me, touch me on the shoulder, or say, or come within my line of vision in order for me to acknowledge you. And it's not because I don't think that you're important. It's because the blinders are on. It's showtime. The performer in me has shut out the world, with the exception of a few people on broadcast and that camera right in front of me. That's why I never respond to hecklers in the crowd, if there ever are any. I don't hear them. You gotta work hard to get my attention, and that's because I am in such work mode. So, you know, it's pretty easy about what happens backstage when it comes to that. I mean, it's just you do find out some information, a little earlier than when we release it. This is true, but we're not in any kind of position to release it because we don't have that position.
That's
So,
right.
but I mean, Sean, Chris, and I, we hang out when we get an opportunity to. We usually always have a production dinner after the weigh-ins. So if there's anything that we need to discuss, that everybody's going to be working kind of in tandem, then, we'll have that dinner, we'll have that discussion, but we don't have that many discussions anymore because we've worked so consistently together. We can just read each other. We can just read each other's thoughts. Well, no, nobody can read your thoughts. So scratch that, reverse it. That's no.
Done.
I can read body language. We can read each other as far as that goes. So a lot of it is just, where's the mic? Okay. Where's my IFB? Okay. Where's the show? Okay. That's
Okay.
pretty much it, man. That's pretty much it. I'm not as interesting as some of the other ring announcers when it comes to everything out there, but I don't care about out there. That's just that's just my life. This is my passion. This is everything. But then again, for those of you who have passion, but your talent may be a step or two behind, don't put it all on passion. I can't stand it when somebody has all heart and all passion. You remember the movie Million Dollar Baby? There was a moment where Morgan Freeman was saying, "Frankie once told me that he never knew a guy who was all heart until I met this kid, and he told me, you show me a fighter who's all heart, and I'll show you a fighter ready for a beating."
It's beautiful.
You can have all that passion you want, but unless the talent equals the passion, you're going to have a tough time. And that's just the way it is. But then again, everybody wants to be the best, especially when it comes to ring announcers and such. And the majority who think they are, reality check, you're not. You're not. Because it has nothing to do with me shitting on who you are as a performer. Everything has to come together. The resume, client list, the people that you work with, the formats on which you work with, the television, it's all got to come together in order for you to call yourself one of the best. It really, really does. And that takes a while, man. That takes a while. It's an interesting profession, Mr. Saturn, because you're not the center of attention. Usually in most entertainment avenues, you're the center of attention with what you do. Ring announcer is not. A ring announcer is not the center of attention, because if people are paying to come see me and not the fighters, I'd like to give them their money back, because they shouldn't be coming just to see me. They should be coming to see the stars of the show. But I don't sell the steak. I sell the sizzle, damn it.
I like that. Oh my God. Do you have any, what's your biggest supporter in your life currently, or maybe somebody you can reflect on? Just, man, they've been there for me for a lot of things.
Oh, the missus. The
Okay.
Mrs. Live Worldwide, but she ain't. She is certainly not live. That's for sure. Um, she has been my biggest supporter for the past 17 years. It's funny. She was a fan. She ended up becoming a fan of mine when I was on the independent pro wrestling scene, because her and her brothers were huge pro wrestling marks. Grew up with it. I mean, if you're in San Antonio and it comes with any kind of combat sport, you love two things: pro wrestling and boxing. If you live in San Antonio for as long as we have. So she would come to the shows, and at the beginning, she thought I was really annoying because I was definitely more. I didn't have as much of a filter back then because we were having fun on the local shows, and I go out and pump up the crowd like Brian Socha does. Brian will go out there and absolutely lose his mind and have fun. Well, that's what I did, and she was just so annoyed with me at the beginning. But the longer that she started, paying attention to me, with the product, the more she liked me. And I guess that makes me an acquired taste. I mean, I may not be the tastiest bite at the first bite, but I'm going to tell you, you go 15 to 16 meals deep on me, you can't live without.
So cool. Good
but she
job,
was
dude.
my but she was by far my biggest supporter, man. There was never a time, no matter what was happening, as I was climbing the ranks, never was there a time that she said, maybe you need to get another job. Maybe this isn't going to work for you. You need to be bringing in more money. Never a one day did she say that. She said, you better move forward, because my wife is the kind of person, Now, this is not a bad thing. She has been at her job for a very long time and she loves her job, but she has not wanted to reach for the stars as far as anything. So the way that she looks at it, she says, one of us is going to, and it's obviously not going to be me. So you go get it. You go get it. And nobody has been as ferociously, undeniably, compassionately supportive of Mr. Live Worldwide than my wife Brandy. 100%, man. That's why, she annoys me more than any human being walking on this planet. That is for damn sure. But when you've been married 16 years, that's what she's supposed to do. It's like once you reach a certain point in your marriage, the TV series Married with Children makes sense. Did you miss me, Al? With every bullet so far. That's
Oh,
what it looks. That's exactly what it looks like. But you can't see yourself being annoyed by anybody else because then you have to start over and you have to build up. That's what marriage and relationships are. Learning how to balance your annoyance level of this human being. Because the thing is, that human being is going to be with you and she's going to annoy the piss out of you. She is, ladies. You're going to. You're going to annoy us. But you know what? It's a two-way street. So I definitely know that we annoy you. But it's learning how to live with that, and this is the right person for you. That's what it's about. So that's why my wife and I gel so much. Oh, and another reason is because we're polar opposites. We have barely nothing in common, and I think that is the tie that binds us.
how do you make that work? I mean, you want to watch
Can't
this
tell you.
show?
Can't tell you. Can't tell you. It's one of those things that I can talk about it,
Yeah.
but if you want me to give you any kind of a demo, oh, brother, that CD doesn't exist. That I'm gonna tell you that AOL. I'm gonna tell you something. If I could go back in time, figure out the secret sauce of this, and put this on the AOL disc that you got free with the Time Life magazine, so that you could upload AOL, I'd have it on that disc. Huh. But I don't, and I have no idea. We've never been to marriage counseling because both of us don't believe in it, because the fact that we're not going to have somebody else give us the same advice that you give every other couple that comes in there. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. We are different and eccentric people. We're very eccentric people. I am because I talk too much. Okay. That's why I'm eccentric. I talk too damn much. I can talk at least three people's lives worth. And I know this, but that's okay. That's just who I am. And my wife is a very low key person who's a homebody. You know, she loves keeping the fires burning. She feeds Biff the pug, our awesome pug.
Biff.
Get Yeah, yeah. Biff. You know Biff. You know
I,
Biff. Yeah, Biff. Yeah, Biff, who has more Instagram followers than I do. Come on, Loudmouth Nation. It's time to start
let's go.
hitting that like button. Mr. Live Worldwide. Get it done.
That's fucking crazy, dude. So, Biff, so
I
how many
told you,
pets you
Mr.
got?
Saturn, get ready for me, man. I'm in rare form today.
It's all good. We have time. We have time. How many pets you got?
What's up?
How many pets? Did you have one pet?
We have one pet, which means we have zero kids. Thank
I was about to ask. I was about to ask too, but
God. Thank God. You know what? It's not for us. It's not for us. I'm sure there's somebody who's going to see that and is going to get butt hurt from what I just said. But I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about you. I celebrate everyone who has a child and they're happy. Celebrate you all, but not for me. Not for me, because it's just not a fit, because I would rather be a selfish person than a bad parent.
jeez.
I
Okay.
would that's the last thing that I would want to be. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be a bad parent, so therefore I don't put myself in the situation to be a bad parent. And I'm at the age right now to where, that's an affirmative statement. If I were in my 20s, everybody would write it off and say, you're still young. There's still miles left in the tank of you. That's no problem. You'll be able to pump out 2 or 3, no problem. But when you're 47 and you say very confidently that, kids are not for you, I would take that to the bank. I would take that to the bank and saying that that's true. But I love my nieces and I love my nephews because I can provide them with brown liquor and shotguns. And after that's all done, I can give them back to their parent. And that was a metaphor. The brown liquor was true, but the shotguns was not.
Or so he says.
All right. See, now you got me in trouble, man. I went out on a high note right there, and now you just incriminated me. So thank you very much, Mr. Saturn.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, it's funny you say that because I think the same way. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I don't think I would be a good parent. So it's just better off, and we're better off living the way we are, childless. That's
Dude, dude, I mean, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
right.
Just because you can does not mean you should, because I know some of the greatest parents I've ever come across, but I know more bad parents that should have never even had children that I've come across. I'd like to say that the average is favoring good parents. It's not. It's just not, unfortunately. There's a bunch of people out there that should not have had children.
Yeah. Yep.
I deal with it every day when I'm at the airport.
Hmm.
When you're at the airport and you've got that inconsolable young child that's crying and screaming and not understanding what's happening, and your absentee parents sitting over there on their iPad, on their phone, completely not trying to console that little child that's making it uncomfortable for other people, publicly. So that's the issue that I have. Can I do anything about it without becoming a flight risk? No, unfortunately not. It doesn't work that way. And so you gotta keep it in here, unfortunately, and also in your noise canceling headphones.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
expensive ones, I bet, huh?
Are you
Like-
kidding? They're worth the expense.
yeah.
They're worth the expense. Yeah, expensive headphones, sanity. Which one is going
Expensive.
to be more expensive in the long run? Sanity, yeah. Then I will buy Dyson headphones if I have to get that out.
Oh my God, dude, Jeff. Jeff, I'm having a good time here, man. Jeez.
I'm glad.
Um,
I told you I asked to be prepared, and you are.
I haven't even gotten through 10% of what I had dished up before we got onto the live.
Oh, come on. Don't sing it. Bring it.
Um,
I'm ready.
what is it? How do you balance your work life, especially when you're traveling and your home life? How does that work out?
There is no balance. Work uh, I work part-time, but then again, it does feel like a full-time schedule with BKFC, as I want it to be. I want it to be. There are very, very few people that I've worked with that I have aspired to be exclusive with, because I've always thought that setting yourself exclusively limits your potential for growth. But that doesn't matter to me now, because I found where I want to grow, where I want to be synonymous. I found where I want to grow until it's the biggest thing the sport world has ever seen. I found it. I mean, not too many people can actually say that they found what they want when it comes to their professional lives. I found it, and it was in a very unlikely place with unlikely people. But that's what makes the journey so great, is because it was so unpredicted. I couldn't have, if I had told you that, if you had told me almost 7 years ago that I would become the preeminent voice of bare knuckle fighting in the entire world, I would have thought that you were freaking crazy. I would have thought that you were out of your mind, because first of all, I thought that would never get off the ground with the way people are, you know, this day and age. Unfortunately, it's more of the snowflake generation. So, too brutal, too barbaric. Barbaric, I hate that friggin' word, because it's not barbaric. Okay, when I think of barbarism, barbaric. When I think of that, I think of violence and death against somebody who's not ready for it. Against, it's forced violence, and it's not agreed upon mutually. Okay. That's not barbaric to me. If you agree upon it mutually, can it be brutal? Yes. But I don't think it's going to be barbaric, because the BKFC fighters know what they're towing the line for, you know? So that's why I love this as much as I do. And that balance between work and that, because of the fact that I don't have a day job, I have a very healthy home, home situation. But it's a home situation. I'm not much of a partier unless I'm after a show. And the reason for that is because I have more of a reason to party. I go out with my wife and we do couple stuff. Of course we do. I mean, but we're definitely more homebodies. Definitely more homebodies because of as much as I travel. You think I just want to get out there and do
Yeah.
some more of it, but it just happens to be within the city? No, I want to relax. I want to relax and have my time away from the thousands upon thousands of screaming fans.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to tell you one thing. You think that you're in sensory overload when you're sitting out there watching a show? Try being ringside while everything's happening, having an IFB in your ear, having the crowd go crazy, being pulled this direction, being pulled that direction, go here, go there, say this last second. Ooh, man, that right there is sensory overload. But when you've done it as often as I have, and I'm approaching damn near having watched and announced almost 1,000 bare knuckle fights, I'm damn close. I'm damn close. That's for sure. I've done more than any ring announcer in history. Actually, I don't think any other ring announcer has done over 1,000 bare knuckle fights. So the balance, dude, is perfect. It's really good.
What about after your events? When you got like me, I'm always like, "Hey, Jeff Houston, let me get a picture. Let me get a picture." What about your fans? You have pretty cool interactions with fans.
Everything depends on the fan.
Okay.
Everything depends on the fan. There are celebrities that are out there that people characterize as, jerks or assholes. I hate to say it, but some of them are that way because of bad fan interactions. It happens. All it takes is one really bad interaction to sour people off of how they deal with their fans before or after a show, or even in a personal setting. They happen to, catch you here and such. Proximity is always an issue with some fans, that they think that they can get so up close and personal with you just because that they appreciate what you do. I don't mind getting up and close, but if it gets to a point to where now you're going out of your way and making it apparent that you're trying to invade my personal space, it takes me a while to actually pick that up, Mr. Saturn. I could be a friendly guy, but when that happens, tempo changes completely, unfortunately, because it just really depends on the fan. But if you're cool with me, I will be the coolest MFer with you. I will take videos, I will do pictures. I don't care about that stuff. I'm just happy that you're there and you're a fan of the show. If you take time to come out and say hello to me and pay me compliments, I think that's awesome. But I'm more happy that you're there to see the show.
Can you tell us about something that might have happened, like a bad interaction, and how'd you? Well, I mean, maybe you distance yourself, but can you share something with us about an experience?
Again, it can be hard because I'm in that tunnel vision.
Right.
But there have been a couple where there have been, a few drunk women who were a little too feelsy, and really trying to go out of their way to, well, they're drunk.
Yeah.
So there's really no point in giving an excessive explanation on that,
Definitely.
because they're way too handsy. And I'm not saying that I don't like PDA and everything like that, but with a stranger that is going after something that quickly and that aggressively, and obviously alcohol is the contributing factor. Believe it or not, I'm actually not that. I'm not amused, actually. I'm not amused with something like that. That just shows a lack of control to me, and that's somebody that I would actually rather distance myself away from, because the lack of control that they show can get back to me in some way, and I'm not about to have that hurt the way people look at me or my professional career. I be very careful with it, dude, man. You don't know what's coming your way sometimes, so you always have to judge each person individually about how they're approaching you. Not judge them as a person, but judge how they're approaching you as a fan, in saying thanks, in wanting to spend a moment with you and get a picture. That's what you're looking at. You're not judging the person, you're judging the action.
That's right. I know that when you're not on stage, you have ringside view of the fights. I mean, that's gotta be pretty freaking exciting. Do you have a favorite moment? Some like, I mean, every freaking fight
Oh
is
yeah.
like, wow, but tell us about
Oh
your
yeah.
favorite moment.
It's not with BKFC as far as a ringside moment. This would be a cage side moment, and it was a small show that I was doing in San Antonio at Cowboys, which is uh, it's a uh, it's a theater and an indoor rodeo, bull riding rodeo. Yeah, very very well known in San Antonio, very very popular venue. Um, I was doing an MMA show there, and there was this. I think yeah, it was a lightweight fight. Came right down in front of me, and this guy was raining down some of the most deadliest ground and pound connections I've ever seen. Now, sometimes you can see how a fighter generates that momentum when you're at a seated position in ground and pound. Sometimes you can get an effective strike, but sometimes you got to go kind of like Donkey Kong, and it's not really gonna hurt you, but it could overwhelm you to where you're not protecting yourself in front of the referee like you should be, and the referee stops it. A lot of the times, it's not because they can't handle the fights; it's just because they get overwhelmed with what's happening, and all they do is turtle up for a second. Well, that's all it takes. One turtle up, and then the referee jumps in. Nope, 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 nope. You're done, and you may not have been done. But the point of what I'm trying to get at, I told you, we're taking the scenic route on these. So anybody who's pissed off saying get to the point, doesn't work like that, baby.
Nope.
Um, he came across with one of the sickest right cross hook upper. It was almost like everything in one punch down across, and then all of a sudden this rill of blood right across my face, completely drenched me. I mean, I was wearing the proverbial crimson mask,
Yes.
and it was a smaller show, and it was the last round. It was the last round of that fight. So I was about to get into the ring. One of the assistants comes over with a wet wipe, trying to wipe it off my face, because on those shows, I would do the post-fight interviews, because smaller shows, not on TV. You do the post-fight interviews with the good fights. Well, I told her, I said, no, 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 do not clean my
Yeah.
face. I said, I want to show people the reality of what happens when you are sitting in what I like to call the splash zone. I mean, it's like sitting at SeaWorld. You sit too close, if you sit too close, Shamu's going to get you wet.
Yeah.
And that sounds wrong on so many different ways, but take it as you will. But that's what it is. It's sitting in the splash zone. And a lot of people afterwards said, Jeff, you were crazy doing that. I'm like, no, no. I said, this is not a televised event. And most people would be freaked out with a little blood on their face and everything. But with all the fights that I've seen, I would rather sell that, with the fighter. I'm not trying to put myself over. I'm trying to put the fighter over, as a matter of
Yeah.
fact. I'm trying to put the fighter over, as saying, this is what happens when you sit close, when this guy's fighting around you. Here's the damage, and it's not even mine.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was going with that. So that right there is probably one that I remember the most, having sit so close to the fights, because you don't forget that.
No, dude. I mean, that's if I saw it and I saw your the blood on your face as a spectator, it just brings more excitement to it. I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow.
I'm not saying the BKFC would let me do that. I mean, that was definitely a house show moment that they had no problem with. But if something like that happened to BKFC, I guarantee you, man, I'd be wet wipe heaven before I even step one shoe on that stair going up to
Yeah.
the ring.
Do you have? I mean, I don't know how might get you in trouble here again. Do you have a favorite fighter in BKFC?
Yes, I absolutely do. Every single one of them.
Okay.
Every single one of them. I do not play favorites when it comes to the fighters, because the fact that they are doing something that most of us don't have the stomach or the sack to do. I
That's right.
appreciate every single one of them, win, lose, or draw, whether it be a good fight or a bad fight. Guess what? Human beings have good days and bad days. If you're expecting us to be perfect 100%, that's an expectation that you could just go ahead and throw out the window, because it doesn't exist. Everybody has their bad days. Now, do I see certain fighters that are on an upward trajectory faster? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, as far as upward trajectory, two come to mind: King Kai Stewart and the greatest woman of all time to ever do it in bare knuckle, Christine Faria.
That's right.
Those are rocket ships and they're stars. And the thing is, they know it, but they've got to keep the discipline consistent. And that's what it's all, dude, that's what it's all about, is keeping the discipline consistent and not being complacent. They cannot get themselves to that stage, because if they do, they start losing because they're not as dedicated. Why do you think Floyd Mayweather was considered one of the greatest of all time? Now, yes, he became a defensive fighter for a long time and it bored the piss out of people.
Agree.
But with the discipline that he showed each and every time he came to practice, each and every time that he geared up for a fight, there's no fighter walking the face of this earth that I know that had the discipline that he did. When it came to it, he was unshakable in his discipline, prepping for a fight camp. Christine reminds me of that. Christine reminds me of that because almost every video Christine posts is of her training. I mean, we do see glimpses into her personal life. And she's a good friend of mine, and a lot of people around her are very good friends of mine with Rasha. So, we've seen her in her personal life. But there's always there's always like a gleam in her eye, even if she's not fighting, that she knows, I can't go past this point. I can't drink more than this. I can't do that. I have to be in my right mind, because if I'm not, I'll lose it. And I love that. I love that. I love that. And one of the most entertaining fighters that I love is my boy Julian Let Me Bang Lane. I love Julian. Most entertaining fighter that we've ever had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw, I want to see Julian fight. People want to see Julian fight, because Julian is not going out there to half-ass it. He is going out there to go for broke,
That's right.
because that's all he knows. And sometimes that's the kind of fighter that you pay to see, that you're happy to see, because he's going to go out there and truly give you it all. He's going to truly give you your money's worth. Now, there's a slew of them like that on the BKFC roster, and that's what makes this so great, is because we do have those fighters that have that same fire, that have that same talent, that have that same determination. We just have to work on certain things with some of them. I say this to most fighters, actually, and I'm going to take a moment. I was doing an interview yesterday, and I'm going to say this again today to the fighters. Use those free avenues of training that you have. And the training that I'm talking about is media training. You cannot go wrong with taking or watching free videos. You can watch so many free videos on YouTube on proper media training and get you in that frame of mind to where you're still yourself, but you know how to be yourself in front of a professional public audience. And that, dude, that is so important now. You have to be able to know how to conduct yourself on camera as well. Dude, your professional life outside of the ring has to be as keyed in as your professional life inside the ring now. That's just the way that it works with social media and so many different platforms that we have now that we didn't have back then. Fighters have to be so much more involved in social media than they ever were. They
Yeah,
have to.
definitely. Yeah, the exposure. I mean, I don't have a big following, but I like doing these interviews, especially with a lot of fighters who are kind of just starting out. And I get the same answer when I ask them, like, hey, you want to give a shout out? I was like, no, I appreciate it because I'm getting out there. The people are gonna know a little bit more about me. So the more exposure I can get, the better. I was like, well, I appreciate it. So yeah, that exposure is something
Dude,
else.
I don't care. I don't care what people have. Even if somebody wants to employ gotcha tactics on me, like, go right ahead. My gun is faster than yours. I'm faster on the draw. I'm your Huckleberry.
You are, Jeff. You freaking are, dude. You're like, you're
Go
quick
ahead,
wit.
and I've told people before, try your best, because I will be happy to show you how you failed.
Yeah. Fucking Jeff, man. I can see some horns growing on, bro. Don't rip your hat.
They've always been there, man. You know what? You know why they've always been there? Because it's the only thing holding the halo up.
Oh, okay. Oh no, that's what that shine was. Okay.
The halo is there, but the only thing holding it up is the horns.
Oh, Jeff. Jeff, do you fight? Do you know how to fight? Do you train?
I did. I did back in the day, but it was on a amateur Muay Thai kickboxing level. I never put in the time or effort that boxers, mixed martial artists, bare knuckle fighters, I never put in that time or effort because I didn't want it to be my life. But I was young. I was 21, 22 years old. I felt, why not give it a try on the amateur level? And, I had done, Muay Thai training, when I was younger. So I thought, why not give it a try? And I ended up having an amateur record of 3-2 in Muay Thai.
Okay. Okay.
So I did come out ahead, and I was happy about that because I totally thought I was going to be upside down because I went up against some really tough amateurs. But what I thought that I did pretty well for the most part is I was very good at reading my opponents. I was very, very good at looking for when a fighter would feint with me. When he would try to feint and surprise me somewhere else. I felt that I had kind of a good 360 viewpoint when I was watching you fight, which is, I guess, the reason why I went 3-2. But in my early 20s and such, and most of the athletes that were in there were better athletes than me. I just, you know, was good at reading that, and for 2 times I wasn't. So I didn't go undefeated. But after 5 fights, I said, you know what? This is I'm going to leave this to those who are aspiring to succeed in this career
Right.
because I am not. Because I am not. So I stopped, and this was probably about, was it 21, 22? So about 3 years later, I got into ring announcing. Yeah, but I'd
Hey,
always loved martial arts. I I'm not a team sports nut, with the exception of my awesome silver and black attack, the San Antonio Spurs. I'll
okay.
definitely make sure that I'm a Spurs fan. Hard and true, no problem there. But as far as anything else, not really. Not really. I can't stand football, and I know that's going to get me ostracized from so many people. I'm just not a fan of watching entitled millionaires play a team sport.
Yeah.
That's why I like fighting so much. I like watching the journey, the biting, the clawing, and the scratching that it truly takes a fighter to get them to the upper echelon,
The
and then
hunger.
to get to and then to get to superstardom. Now the journey is never on their own. Now, metaphorically speaking, all the people may be in with him in the ring at the time that they're fighting. Because fighters say, I never go in there alone. I always go in with my team. Yes, metaphorically, but when the bell rings,
It's all you.
it's just you. It's just you. And you got one goal, and that's who's in front of you. What's not to love about that? So that's why I've been. Plus, also, we had a family friend back in the day in the 1980s that was the American World Heavyweight Kickboxing champion, Bad Bread Hefton, who was a very, very, very popular kickboxer back in the 80s, and he was a family friend. So he was another reason that I really got into combat sports back then. And, he introduced me to people like Chuck Norris, Don the Dragon Wilson. I got to meet a lot of really cool, influential Dennis Alexio. I met a lot of influential kickboxers back in the day with our family relationship with him. So that was another reason for me to get pumped up about combat sports because I had at the time the best in the world when it came to the super heavyweight division in kickboxing. That's pretty damn cool.
Jeez. Okay. How about this one? This is a good one. Okay.
Uh oh.
If you could announce um any like a dream fight, what two fighters would be the who would be in it?
Dream. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, uh, I'd like to say that they'd be BKFC, but I also know that I love the storied past of professional boxing, of pro boxing. I love the storied past of it. As far as MMA, I can't really think of anybody that I would really. But as far as boxing goes, Oh man. Oh man. Would I have given anything to see Mike Tyson fight Muhammad Ali in his prime?
Okay.
I would have loved to have seen those two in their prime. I mean, if we're talking reality or if we're talking, hypothetically, that's definitely the hypothetical.
Yeah.
As far as right now, I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of them out there that I'd like to see, but I think a lot of people would like to see, as far as BKFC goes, I think they'd like to see Mike Perry and Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
I think that one would be a lot of fun. I think that one just has two two guys who are very good on the mic,
Yeah.
two larger than life personalities and such. And I know the way Connor builds up a fight. I mean, thank God that he's with BKFC in an ownership capacity, but we all want to see him take off the gloves. The world
Yeah.
wants to see that. The
That's for
world
damn
wants to
sure.
see that.
Yes,
They
sir.
want to see that. And I want to see that. And I'm hoping beyond hope that that becomes a reality. But that would be a really cool fight to see unfold with BKFC. But if we're talking of all time, definitely Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali. Man, that would have just been outrageous.
Jeez. Yeah. 100%. Prior to Conor McGregor joining the company, how do you see things change from before and after? How how's it been since he's been a part of the company? Is what I'm asking. How do you see it?
Well, you have to look at the impact that he's had in the company in the short time that he's been with us. He didn't announce his co-ownership until Knucklemania 4. Now, it had happened not too long after Knucklemania 4. So, I mean, I think it actually happened either the day or the day before. So it was brand new. I mean, it was piping hot right out of the oven. So between the time that it started there to the time now, I have never seen someone come into BKFC and promote it the way that he has in just that short amount of time. Obviously the biggest overall fan of BKFC will always be Dave Feldman Sr. Will always be. Nobody can eclipse, that. But for somebody to come in less than a year and be as passionate about the brand that he's been, he talks about it everywhere he goes. He is on social media several times a day plugging BKFC. And when you're around him, his oh my goodness, man, he just exudes this excitement that's infectious. You feel successful around him
Okay.
when you're just around him. And it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with this incredible aura that he's projecting onto other people. And sometimes I don't even know if he knows that he's doing that, but he does. It's easy to like the guy. It's really easy to like the guy. Let the haters say what they want. It is easy to like Conor McGregor. And I'm glad that he's involved with BKFC. I don't care what happens in the future. I mean, that's neither here nor there. He is all about pushing the brand and supporting the brand. And at that level, we are very lucky to have someone like that, championing us 100%.
That definitely opened a big door because I kind of see BKFC going through the same thing UFC did when it started out. People were complaining, saying it was too crazy, blah blah. But it's getting traction, and people are starting to say, "Wow, this is something that's coming with a lot of momentum." And when Conor
A
McGregor
little
came in,
different. Yeah, a
huh?
little different for us. A little different for us on that because when the UFC was, started in the first couple of years, there was a lot of pushback
Mhm.
from our government. There was a lot of pushback on our government saying, unless you change things up, this is not going to last. It's not. We're just not going to let it happen. You've got to. You've got to put weight classes in there. You have to put time limits. You have to make this. You have to have the rules set and the sports set there in order for this to continue. And they were like, okay, we'll do that. And because they did that, the oppressors originally became the fans. And that's what's happening with BKFC. which is exactly what I thought it was. Those who look to oppress us, those who look to put us down, those who are saying we're too violent, we're too campy, are now our fans because they see where we're going. They've seen everything. Everybody who was looking at us before was looking through the weeds, the tall grass. See
Yeah.
their eyes going, oh, is it, what's happening? Is it a good fight? It is a good fight. It is. Well, get that grass out of here. Wow,
Yeah.
that is a good fight.
Uh,
That's what ended up happening at the beginning, which is exactly what I thought I would. But when BKFC 1 started, everybody was really, we weren't worried, but we were in unfamiliar territory. You know, there were only a few people who understood where we were. That was David Feldman and Tommy Gunn.
I actually have the his book that I bought over at Knucklemania in LA.
I'm going to tell he had some kind of idea with this, and having him there as the unofficial, underground bare knuckle boxing champion, 75 and 0, 74 and 0, whatever it was at the time. Nobody cared. There were some people who cared about that claim. I could give two craps whether it's true or not. I'm all about the guy. I'm all about the guy and what he does out there, and the way that he fought when he fought for us the first time. It was interesting because he fought in different angles, hit different places, and showed us something that not necessarily any other bare knuckle fighter until a certain time started implementing. You know, it was a completely different style because of the fact that he actually did have that bare knuckle fighting experience. So he was like hitting at certain places. He was hitting like at points of elbows or on the shoulder or stuff like that. He wasn't necessarily targeting the head or the body. He was going after different pressure points and such. And I found that very, very interesting. And I'm like, this guy's got some science to it. And the rest is history because BKFC 1 was an incredible success. A very interesting start to it because of everything that had been going on behind the scenes before it actually came out. I'm sure that you've seen the BKFC documentary on Vice, right?
Not yet. I had no idea. What the hell? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, there's a BKFC documentary that we did at the beginning that was on Vice, and it was centered around Sam Shoemaker at the time because they thought that Sam was going to be the face of BKFC and this one punch machine gun. Because he gets an 18-second knockout, one punch knockout over Eric Prindle, which nobody saw coming. And it helped us so massively at the beginning. But what it also did is it set a very difficult bar for Sam to reach again. Because everybody thought he was going to be this Ivan Drago American one punch machine gun. And
Uh,
unfortunately, we all know that never happened again. That never happened again. I'm not saying the man didn't give us awesome and memorable fights because he absolutely did. But that one punch machine gun that they were trying to make him out to be never materialized. Because unfortunately, in bare knuckle, it doesn't work that way. You don't know what kind of opponent you're getting in bare knuckle, especially at the beginning, because there were so few people in the world who actually had bare knuckle fighting experience stateside outside of street fighting when they were younger or bar fighting or whatever the hell they did, as far as that goes. But
uh,
that's where it was. Now that people moving forward are cutting their teeth and we're getting into second generation bare knuckle fighters. Soon we're going to get into third generation bare knuckle fighters. You're going to see more method to their madness and more control as the sport grows the way that it has been growing. So that's a big thing that you have to look at as a fan outside looking in, is that you're going to see the sport really grow, not as far as what people watch, but as far as the overall functionality of bare knuckle fighting in BKFC.
I can see it even growing in technique. Like as you were just mentioning,
Oh, it
Tommy,
has
and
been.
yeah, yeah,
It has been.
yeah,
It has
definitely.
been. It has been. There is a lot more technique that's involved, and but the thing is that a lot of people say when it comes to combat sports, there's a lot of technique involved, and you can't be inexperienced. bare knuckle fighting, I hate to say it, we've had inexperienced fighters come in and own
Yeah.
because it's a different technique. When the gloves come off, that changes everything.
Yes.
It changes the landscape of the fight. And the sooner that these rookies that are coming in understand that, the better, because you could be the seasoned fighter. You could be the Luis Palomino. You could be the Austin Trout. Can someone come in their first show and derail you? Yes, that can happen.
And
And it can
fast.
happen easier here than in other combat sports. It can, and it has. So understand the unpredictability. The guy who is looked at as the biggest underdog can end up making a record, end up making company records, as we did at BKFC 69 in Atlanta.
That's right.
Fastest knockout
Well,
in combat sports history, 2.9 seconds, and the fighter was not the favorite. He was not the favorite. And look what happened. The bell rang, one punch, one perfect punch, done.
did you
Done.
did you see that post I made where I compared Papa Midnight Danasabe and
Yeah.
the fastest knockout? So one happened on the second round and then one was in the first round. Now I've learned that the first round knockout is record because it was at the very beginning of the fight. Who do you think had the fastest knockout though? Because when does a fight start? When the bell rings or
Knock out or knock down?
knock
I mean,
out?
the fastest knockdown was 1 second. The
Okay.
fastest knockdown was was 1 second. I believe that. I'm trying to remember who that was. Oh man, I'm trying to remember who that was. Oh, that was Abdiel Velasquez.
Okay.
Abdiel Velasquez got a 1 second knockdown, and that was the fastest knockdown in BKFC history. But the knockout, you have to look at the overall body of the knockout by one of the most important factors of the knockout: when the referee waves it.
Okay.
That is the most important factor when you're talking about the overall speed of the knockout, because you could have we potentially had faster knockouts that have happened? Absolutely. But it's all dependent on when the referee waves it off, because that's when the official time comes in for the knockout. As we all saw this fight, the referee waved it the second that it literally almost the second that it happened.
Yeah.
So that's why we ended up getting 2.9 seconds. Do I believe that the Yuli Diaz knockdown could have been faster? No, no, because Yuli did not knock him down with the very first punch. That did not happen. That did not happen. So that's why I think that this is legitimately the fastest knockout that we've ever had, and legitimately it is the fastest knockout in combat sports history.
Yeah.
The fastest.
It was everywhere on the internet. Like it caught like fire and yeah, it was crazy.
But the funny thing is that the haters were saying, "Oh, he knocked out a tomato can." No, he did not. He did not. He was not the favorite. He was actually the home. He knocked out the hometown guy.
Hmm.
He knocked out the hometown guy from Atlanta. So he was not a tomato can. It was a good shot.
Yeah.
Some people want to read in more to it, like his mind wasn't there. I'm like, 2.9 seconds. What the hell do you expect somebody to do in 2.9 seconds? Would you have been able to defend it any better in 2.9 seconds? Chances are, no chances.
No,
Definitely not.
that's no, that's crazy.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Keep going. Come on.
I'm going, man. I'm going. Anyways, okay, so who has been probably one of your biggest influences in your career?
Myself.
Okay.
Myself. Um, Influencers, no. People that I like. I've never been the kind of guy to idolize anyone or say anybody influenced me in this, because I've always had a driving force for myself, within myself, even when I was a young kid. So, are there people that I have admired? Oh, 100%. 100%. But as far as influence, no, nobody really influenced me to do this. This is something that I pushed along, and I had so much help on the outside. I had so many people pushing me to be the best. Never once did I ever have someone come across to me and says, "You should not be doing this." Never once. I've had my haters, but I've never had anybody say that you should not be doing this. But as far as someone who I admire, in my opinion, the greatest ring announcer in the history of ring announcing, oh, that was Howard Finkel from the WWE. WWF back in the days. Best ring announcer, in my opinion, that ever lived, because he didn't give a shit about catchphrases. Didn't care about that. He was known for the original purveyor of "and new." Nobody said it better than him. Nobody. Nobody whose last name is Buffer has said it better than that. But everybody is on a comparative basis,
Yeah.
unfortunately, who does ring announcing. That's why I appreciate the compliment, but I never like when someone compares me or says you're better than Bruce Buffer and such, because unfortunately that is the basis for comparison as of right now. Would be Bruce Buffer and Michael Buffer and a few others that are at the top alongside with us. I mean, do I believe that I'm on the same plateau with Bruce Buffer? 100%. 100%. Absolutely. I've worked very hard to get there. But it's not about who's better. It's about, can I make the impact on the sport that I wanted to? Yes, that's what I want. That's what's important to me. Can I make a difference and be a very important spoke on the wheel? Just a spoke, not the whole goddamn wheel, but an important spoke. That's all I want. That's all I want with that. But why can't I be a rock star while I'm
Right.
doing this? I am not putting the attention on me. I am putting the sizzle on everything else.
That's
It's
right.
just unfortunately the ways people's brains work, especially the old school promoters, is the minute that the ring announcer starts making it a performance base, that he's got to be in business for himself. Couldn't be further from the truth, because I want what I do to become part of the production. I want people to know that they can count on Jeff as much as they can count on these guys giving an amazing bare knuckle fight. Now they're going to think about the fighters before they think about Jeff, and thank God for that, because that's what they're there for. That's where my humility comes into play, because I know that. But why can't I be a rock star while I'm working? Why not? I'm not taking the attention away from the fighters. I'm giving it to them. I am giving it to them in the best possible way that I could give something to someone. And that's how I look at it.
Jeff, you have a way about you, man. Like that's why I've been drawn to you, not as a crazy fan, but like ever since, I used to tell my wife, like that guy has a freaking voice. Like, geez,
Thank you.
So that's why I appreciate every time you allow me to take a picture with you, bro. You're just a real cool guy, man.
You've
Um,
always gone about it the right way. You've always gone about it the right way. Like I said earlier, you go about it the right way. Dude, I will wish happy birthday. I will wish happy birthday, happy Kwanzaa, happy quinceanera to anybody that you want. To anybody that you want, but it all depends on how the fan interacts with me. You do it the right way, you get, not only do you get what you want, but you get parting gifts that you weren't expecting.
yeah, definitely. A lot of good memories is what I have. It's just stacking up memories. Told you I want to keep taking a picture with you, and then after a while, just like make a cool little like thing where it's just gonna show all the events that we got to, you know.
He's going to make a collage, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen. He's
a
going to make
collage
an
of
overall collage of
Jeff
Mr. Live
Houston.
Worldwide and Mr. Saturn.
Yes,
Well, I'm going to tell you
exactly.
what, I'm fine with that, because both of us have a nickname that you got to call us Mister.
That's right. That's right. The misters.
That's right. I don't mind hanging out on the rings of Saturn.
That's
I
right.
don't mind.
That's right. You're quick wit. That's right. Um, have you gone through some kind of life-changing event, or has there ever been something tough in your life that just changed your whole view on stuff? Or
Guaranteed.
okay, shoot.
Guaranteed. My very regrettable severe cocaine addiction when I was younger. I was a very I was the definition of an addict back in the day. And the reason that I was is because I was always around it. I was always around the worst people. When I was younger, I was around a very bad crowd, and it wasn't exactly like they were robbing banks or killing people, but they had no addition to your life, with the exception of the occasional party and drugs. But I was always around it. So I never had to pay for it a day in my life. I just had to be me. I had to be charismatic. I had to be funny. I had to get people interested in getting me involved with that. So I did that for so long, for years. I had a cocaine addiction for about 3 strong years. And my tolerance was almost Tony Montana esque. I'm not kidding. I know that that sounds funny,
No, no,
but it ain't. But it ain't. No, no, I know what you mean, but it ain't funny. Wow, does that stuff take over your life in the worst possible way? It's unforgiving. It's not there for you. You think it is, but it is there to break you down and destroy you. That's what's really there for. So after literally almost a 36-hour binge, I woke up one day and I was just in just an incredible hazy stupor. And I go back to lift my head off the pillow, but I can't. So I got to reach back and I hear this tearing sound, just and I'm just so out of it. I'm like, whatever, whatever, and everything. I get up, I go to the bathroom, I go to the mirror in the sink, and I turn the light on. From the top of my head, probably to about down here, completely caked and soaked in blood. Completely big. I look back at the bed. There's a 2 foot circle of blood soaked into my bed. I had abused my nasal passages over the only 3 straight years so massively that after that binge, all of the mucous membrane lining in my nose, it was drying up, and eventually it got to the point of rupture, and my mucous membrane lining burst overnight and bled out and
jeez.
bled out. So I lost about 2.5 pints of blood through that actually. So um, I didn't want to go to the emergency room because I know when you go to the emergency room, that information gets reported to the police. And the police end up having kind of a hand in that. And I didn't want that. So I went to one of those 24-hour urgent cares. And I sat down with a doctor, Dr. Johnson of all people. I mean, the most American last name that you could possibly have. He comes in with my file, takes one look at me, and this guy is as focused on me as I've ever seen a doctor before, because he's like, I've looked at your chart. This has never happened to you before, has it? And I'm just like, no. I didn't even know where I was when that was happening. And he was like saying, if I see you in here again, my job be damned. I will go to the police and tell them that this happened before. If I end up losing my license because I didn't report it the first time, I don't care. I don't want to see you in here again. He had mercy. He took mercy on me. He took mercy on me. He sent me home with some Valium. And I looked at that as he absolutely did not have to do that. He put his professional ass on the line for somebody he didn't know 2 ways from Sunday. And I was like, if somebody's going to do that for me, I need to fix this. Big wake up call. And then less than 6 months later, I was a ring announcer.
Jeez, wow. Like a redemption story almost, right? That's pretty
It
cool.
it it, it absolutely was, because of
Wow.
the fact that I was a homeless drug addict. I was bouncing around from place to place. I didn't have a place of my own. I didn't care. I was one of those situations. But the funny thing about it is that it's always taken differently when it comes to a fighter. If it happens to a fighter, it's the root to the fruit story. When a ring announcer does it, it's not as impactful. And the reason that is because I'm sitting on my biscuit, not having to risk it. I'm not out there fighting. Okay.
I
I'm
like
not
that.
out there fighting. So it's a completely different scenario. But for me, it was root to the fruit. I was at the lowest point that I possibly could. If I had continued down that point, I'd be dead. And I would have been dead young. I would have been dead in my 20s, guaranteed the way that I was going. It was leaving Las Vegas, winter edition. Winter edition with the snow.
Yeah.
You know, instead of the booze with the snow. And that would have happened, but it didn't. It did not happen. And it was the biggest wake up call in my life. And I have been, what am I now? 22 years sober from that. And I haven't touched anything like it since.
Okay. Now here's a little cool question, I guess, for us Californians. Do you indulge in any cannabis? Is that something that you can even speak on? Don't worry, there'll be some editing. So
Ugh.
I know you have I know you probably like having a couple of drinks here and there, right?
I
So
don't mind partaking. I have a very, very deep respect for these substances because one of them almost killed me. So if I am to indulge in those things, there's one thing I'm never touching again a day in my life, and those kind of they can stay over there.
yeah,
But something like that, the occasional, sure, sure, yes, yes, yeah, but it's very minimal. My drinking, I was never really a big drinker. I was always a situational drinker. Whatever where I was, dictated how many drinks I would have that evening. Everybody's like, "Oh, you drink the same amount, here, there, there." That's the furthest thing from the truth. A lot of it has to depend on where you are, who you're with, what the occasion is, and such. There are some times you won't, and then there are some times that you go for broke that night.
that's
That you
right.
just go for broke because you're having such a good time. So it's really all situational, and that's how it's always been. But do I partake of that excessively? No, not at all. Not at all.
What do you do for fun, man? Do you have any hobbies? You play guitar? Do you know how to yo-yo or what's up?
Pickleball.
Okay.
Pickleball. Cyrus Fees and I are big time pickleball enthusiasts. And as of right now, Cyrus is the better player.
Okay.
Remember what I just said, though, right now. I didn't say he was the best player overall because I'm coming for him. Because I'm coming for him on that pickleball court. But I kind of look at it like we're like the mega powers
Mhm.
from WWF times. When we team up, we can't be stopped. But when we're one on one, we want to kill each other.
Yeah.
You know, and one on one, I'm just like Hulkamania. It is
Oh my
not
God.
exactly what it's supposed to be. Yeah, if you're thinking about the rocket ship going to the moon, I'm thinking about Macho Madness running wild over Hulkamania. Dig it.
Oh, what the hell? I didn't know you do impressions too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I've done a lot of radio work. I did a bunch of impressions growing up. One of my best ones was working. I actually got to work with James Earl Jones.
Okay.
Yeah, James Earl Jones was obviously the villain in Conan the Barbarian Thulsa Doom. I got I got pegged to do a voiceover for a radio special that was doing kind of like a playoff of Conan the Barbarian, and they couldn't afford James Earl Jones, so they had heard that somebody had passed the word along that I did a solid impression of him, and they passed that along, and I got an opportunity to get on the phone with him. And I asked him certain questions about his timbre, about his pacing, about his voice deflection rather than inflection. But I also asked him about his inflection because sometimes his voice always isn't low. He rises up every now and then. And I just wanted to know, when do I keep it Thulsa Doom, but when do I rise it up a little when I need to? And he was very, very complimentary, and he spent a lot of time. He spent 2 hours with me over that talking about that. It was amazing.
Why don't you shoot us a little impersonation? I want to hear it.
when I tell a story like that, how can I not, right?
That's
I've
right,
painted myself into a corner.
sir.
So
You know what
that
you mean.
kind of that kind of build up, I got to give you the money shot.
Do it.
I get you. I get you. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's see. Where is the eye of the serpent? Rexor says you gave it to a girl, probably for a mere night's pleasure. What a loss. People have no grasp in what they do. You broke into my house, stole my property, murdered my servants and my pets, and that is what grieves me the most. You killed my snake. Fulgrim is beside himself with grief. He raised that snake from the time that it was born. There you go.
Woo.
Yeah.
Bravo, bravo, Jeff Houston. Woo. That was great. That was great. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
to know a lot about you today, Jeff. That's what's up.
Well, hey, this is what the interview process is all about.
Yeah.
I'm a transparent person. I wear transparent glasses. I have a transparent watch band. I have transparent 3D printed shoes. I don't mind letting people in. Certain people don't want you to let them in. I don't mind letting you in because whatever you got negative to say to me, I can take it.
Jeff, you have the best fucking suits I've seen on TV. Do you have who's your suit maker or how what tell us about that?
Well, before I had been working with Angelino out of Los Angeles, and you know their styles are great. But I came across a suit maker that I want to be known for the rest of my life professionally through these suits. That's how dear they are to me. That's how incredible they are to me. Moshe Kent, London. I came across them online. I do a whole bunch of BS Google searches, you know, throughout my week, and I'm always trying to find something new, you know, something that will stand out, but more importantly, something that the competition is not doing. It's not that I look what they are doing; it's what I look at that they're not doing, and where I can take advantage of having a cosmetic look that is my own. And then I came across these guys. I'm like, this is it. I mean, I didn't think I'd come across this in my career where I found a specific suit retailer that does amazing custom work that I want to be just known with, synonymous for the rest of my career. I want to be working with these guys. That's how much I love their work. That's I'm just enamored, in awe of their work. They say they're in awe of me. I'm like, no, I think it's a little bit more. I think it's a little bit more coming from my direction. I'm more in
Yeah.
awe of you and the work that you do. So Moshe Kent London. You can find them on Instagram. You can find them on Facebook. I believe their website is Moshe Kent Mochee Kent Kent.uk. I believe that's what it is. Awesome suits, and in my opinion, the best deals when it comes to having something completely custom made for you. I'm not talking about just any regular suit that looks like it was off the rack. I'm talking about somebody making something that is tailored to the individual and human being that you are. Now
Jeff.
that's cool. Oh no. I could sell a ketchup popsicle to a
Yeah.
woman wearing white gloves.
That was great. And I was like, geez, I'm about to go buy me a suit right now.
See, and that's exactly the reaction that I want from you.
Yeah, dude, that was great. I
That's
was
exactly
stuck.
the reaction I want from you.
I was stuck, Jeff. Oh my God. Jeff, can you sing? Do you sing?
No.
Ah.
With this blessed voice that I have been blessed with, that's the only thing that I can't do, man. Unfortunately, my range. Now I have a high range, but as far as natural singing capabilities, they're not there. They just aren't there because if they were, I'd be doing that on the side. I guarantee you that I'd be doing that on the side. But unfortunately, no. So I will not see myself stepping onto the stage of America's Got Talent anytime soon. No.
Okay. Okay. What is your favorite kind of what's your favorite food, Jeff? What's your go-to?
Mr. Saturn, you should know this.
I
Come
should.
on now. I absolutely should. I post
Um,
about it all the time. I post about it all the time. I'm going to tell you, I'm the biggest sushi snob you ever
oh,
came across.
that's right.
Sushi is my go-to. Outside of that, I'm definitely a Tex-Mex fan, and
Okay.
I'm definitely a hardcore brisket fan because I'm a Texan. So, as a Texan, you got to appreciate your Tex-Mex, which you won't find anywhere else in the world, and you got to appreciate the brisket because brisket in Texas is the best in the entire world.
Okay.
There are other places that have us beat on other barbecue items, 100%, but nobody beats Texas when it comes to brisket. Nobody.
There's this like running I guess kind of a joke where they say that the tacos in California are the best. You're from Texas.
Yes.
So, and I'm pretty sure you had tacos here in California and Texas.
The last time that we were in Los Angeles, we went down to I think it was Guerrero Street. We went down to Guerrero Street, and there was that makeshift setup tacos out front. They've got just right there along Guerrero Street, and they've got the big hunk of pork there, so for the al pastors,
Al
and they
pastor.
shave it right there and do it right there. I would put that on par with Tex-Mex tacos any day of the week. Any
Okay.
any day of the week. It's quite impressive. If I'm anywhere but Texas and anywhere in Mexico or Spain for that matter, I know that we got to go there. But outside of those, I go for California when it comes to Mexican food. Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
You have a favorite Mexican dish?
I am a street taco fan through and through. I love street tacos. Like this morning, we had some kick-ass barbacoa for breakfast. I love my barbacoa tacos. In the morning, cilantro and onion with salsa,
Okay.
man. Ooh, and nice
Mhm.
big hunk of avocado in there on top of that. That's good eat. That is good eating. I love that. I like my chilaquiles when I get an opportunity to have them. If I can have proper chilaquiles, the amazing thing is how easily such a traditional Mexican dish can be so messed up. It can be done so poorly. It's a very, very simple dish on top of that. And probably one of my favorites of all time is uh, it'd probably be puerco y carne salsa Coca-Cola. A mixture of delicious pork and beef, uh, and it's sautéed in a Coca-Cola sauce. Yeah, very, 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 very Mexican, man. Very
I
carne y
need
salsa Coca-Cola. Carne y salsa Coca-Cola, man. Oh my God, it's so freaking good.
I need to check. I thought you were referring to carnitas because I know they dump Coca-Cola sometimes in the.
No, 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 no. This is a particular family recipe that I found out is more prevalent in certain demographics in Mexico than others. And where I was in Puerto Vallarta. I was in Puerto Vallarta, and around there, apparently that particular coastal city, carne y salsa Coca Cola is a big dish there. Very, very. Now I know that you were going the carnitas route on that because they do the Coca-Cola sauce, but this is something specifically tailored to that demographic over there, and it's just out of this friggin' world. It's like I assumed this is what heaven serves when you're approaching the pearly gates. Saint Peter literally has got this on a silver platter for you.
That's what you're looking forward to, huh? So the nice little blessing. Here you go, Jeff Houston. Before you head in, get yourself filled up.
Well, no, no, I would expect probably if I were wanting that, I'd want a little granddaddy purple kush and some sushi. Yeah.
Of course, of course. Why did I just
That
think you get some
that to me
sushi?
says heaven. I'm gonna be honest with you. Have you ever seen that movie, This Is the End?
Yeah,
In when they all go to heaven
yeah,
and it's available everywhere, and he asks for Backstreet Boys and everything like that. I'm
yeah.
like, that sounds like a good party to me.
That
That
does
sounds
sound like
like
a party.
that's a heavenly party I'd like to attend. Yes.
Do you
That
dance,
sounds
Jeff?
You mean do I attempt?
Okay.
I uh, I try not to be stereotypical of Caucasians, but unfortunately, my dance moves are. So I do a little salsa merengue. I
Okay.
do a little salsa merengue because I've been exposed to it as long as I have. 34 years in South Texas, you're going to be exposed to something. So yeah, but no. I mean, I don't dance. I don't dance on purpose. If I get myself into a position to where I'm having fun, then sure. But I always tell people, if your job is to criticize my dancing while you're having a good time, you need to drink more,
Mm, good. I like
because
that.
I'm not there to impress anybody. If I
Right.
have to look like if I look a fool, if I look a fool while I'm dancing, if I look like I'm having a uh what you would call it, a heart attack or a stroke, instead of actually pulling off dance moves, well then that's what I'm doing, man. You do you, and I do me.
I love that. I love that. I don't know if you noticed, but on Sundays, I'm usually at the Santa Fe Spring Swap Meet, and they play a lot of old school music, and I love dancing, but I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. I have cement feet. I always go with my boots, and but I've had people tell me like, aren't you embarrassed? I'm embarrassed of what? I don't care who's watching.
Embarrassed,
Yeah, like I'm just having a good
embarrassed,
time. Yep. I'm just having a good time. I don't care.
embarrassed. Isn't it interesting how other people say that? It's always someone else who says, "Aren't you embarrassed?" I'm like,
Yeah.
no, because if I were embarrassed, I'd be aware of it.
Yeah.
Because when you're embarrassed, you're aware that you're embarrassed.
That's right.
No, 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 no. It's not about that. It's about how you recover when you're embarrassed, or if you let it bother you. See, I could shit my pants in front of everybody, and I'd find a way around it. I would find a way around it. Trust me. As embarrassing as that would be, hopefully I don't cross that bridge anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's a pretty stinky bridge, but um, I think embarrassment is only for those who will accept it. See, I won't accept it because I'll find a way out. There's always a back door. This is Escape from Alcatraz, baby. No matter what's happening, there's always a back door. And that sounded really bad. So let's just say that there's always a way around,
Yeah.
and that's bad too. God damn it, man!
I don't know, Jeff. I don't know about you now. What's going on?
Cut it out, Mr. Saturn. You cut that out.
You got it. You got
Uh
it.
huh. I think Kid and Play said it best in House Party. The sign on my ass says "Do not enter." I'm a rapper.
That's right. That's right. Man.
Wow, you're getting a lot today, Mr. Saturn. I think I'm giving you too much,
Ah, I told you. I told you. I've been wanting.
but
I
I
think I
did tell
asked
you
you.
too. So
Yeah.
okay.
I bet I had asked you, but I don't think you saw my message just around the when I started doing interviews. But I definitely been wanting to do this. I just want to know more about one of my favorite, TV personnel, BKMC, announcer. I just wanted to get to know more about you, bro. So, but I'm getting a lot, and hopefully we get
Yeah,
to hang
you
out
are,
one day, brother. Maybe just have a couple of drinks or something. Say what's up. Look forward to something
Mr.
like that.
Saturn. You know that I don't have any kind of issue with that. I
Yeah,
don't have any kind of issue with that, man. You're good at your line of questions, and you're a fan. You're a true fan. I mean, you're not just a fan there for being the sake. Some people are there just for the sake of it.
yeah,
Of that. But the true fans, you can tell the true fans, because the true fans follow and are part of the growth
that's right.
of the product, and you have been a part of that. You have been a part of our growth as far as what you've done in your capacity as a fan. What you have done has helped us grow,
Well, thank you, thank you. Are you gonna be
and
at
that's important.
Pachanga?
What's up?
Are you gonna be at Pachanga on the 18th?
Oh, Mr. Saturn, I can't
I
believe that
have
you
to
would even
ask. I have to
I can't
ask.
believe
I
you
have
would
to
even
ask.
ask me that. The only shows that BKFC that there are times that I don't do are some of the smaller international shows that we do.
Okay.
Sometimes I will not do those shows, but outside of the very, very few international smaller shows, I do them all.
Okay.
I do them. I do them all. So of course I will be
So
at
Buckingham.
Pachanga. Of
That's right.
course I will be there. Of course I will be there.
All right. I'm gonna go. I'm
I
actually
won't be
gonna.
leaving. I won't be leaving the casino much, because everything's there, and as you know, that area takes a little while to get there.
Yeah.
Takes
Yeah.
a little while to get there
You like
from
gambling?
San Diego, but that's okay. But that's okay. I mean, it's a pretty drive. I will say this: it is a pretty
Yeah.
drive to Pachanga from San Diego.
Yeah. You don't live in San Diego, do you?
What?
You live in San Diego, or you just flying into San Diego?
No, I'm flying into San
Okay.
Diego if I'm
Right,
going
right, right.
if I'm going to Pachanga, I'm gonna fly into San Diego.
Got you.
No, I've never lived in California.
Yeah.
California
Right.
was never what my it wasn't my cup of tea for what I want for my daily life.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? For others, if it works for you, that's great. But California's a little too fast moving for my taste and such because I feel like I'd always have to be switched on living in California. There are times I love to switch off when I'm at home. And that's where I want to switch off the most, man, when I'm around my wife, when I'm around my pug, when I'm around my family. And even then I turn it on every now and then. I just
Yeah.
it's not even me who's turning it on. It's just out of habit. It's just, I'm sitting there and I'm glad everybody's doing okay. So what's going on? Let's get this party started.
Yeah.
Click. Sometimes I flick on that switch. I don't even know that I've done it.
Yeah. That's how natural you are, my brother. That's how natural it is.
This has
What
been
can
fun.
what kind of advice would you give anybody who's watching this interview, and just what any kind of advice as far as wanting to get somewhere higher, like, like what kind of advice would you give me, somebody who wants to be a part of this company? And like I said, I'm gonna do the seminars in Kansas City, but what kind of advice would
Very
you give
smart.
me?
Very, very smart. That's that's some advice that I could give you right there. Be involved in any way that you can be. Find a way to get yourself involved to where what you're doing is a benefit to the company. That's how you get involved. And if you're good at what you do, you get looked at. You get asked to come back. You get asked to do this. But working with Sean on this upcoming seminar is one of the smartest things I think that you could do because Sean is so dedicated to getting people trained and taught the right way to help expand. If there's any one person that wants to help expand BKFC outside of the squared circle, it's definitely Sean Wheelock. It's definitely him because with this referee, and this referee training as well as the judge training, there are going to be so many people that are going to be involved that have been wanting to do this, that are sick of outside looking in. They want to be a part of it. These ways are the best ways to with it. When it comes to fighters, I could tell you could go to bkfc.com and you could fill out your online application and send it in. But unfortunately, if you're looking at approaching a job that way, it's going to be in a stack with thousands of others,
Yeah.
and it's probably going to take you a while before they even get to you. So the best way that I tell to fighters all the time, I get messaged all the time from fighters all over the world that want me to refer them to BKFC. And I tell them this with all the honesty in my heart. I'm not the one to help you with that because that is not my job. I am not a part of the fighter relations. I am not part of the matchmaking. But what I can tell you to do, the best way that you can get looked at to where the important people have seen you are go to those fighter tryouts. It's the best way. It's the best way to fight with us because then the important people, Chris Lytle, our matchmaker Nate Shook, we've got so many people. Dave Cranston, there's so many people. I mean, even Dave Senior will be there. Even Dave Senior will be there. These are the people that you want to show up for. You want to show up and show off for anybody? These are the people to do it. Find a way to get it done, even if you live all the way across the world. We have had international fighters come in for our tryouts that have literally flown across the world because they know that this is the right way to do it. So for fighters, I appreciate you reaching out to me, but this is the information that I can impart on you, the advice that I can impart on you. Go to the tryouts. It's the best way. It's the best way to get your foot in the door with BKFC if you want to fight for us. Anybody else? Little things like what you're doing again, I'll go right back to what Sean was doing. Little things like that are going to get you looked at. That's the best advice that I could give anybody. Find a way to go out there and get involved instead of having an email correspondence.
Mhm.
A texting, a social media, and an email correspondence is only going to take you so far. showing up and asking, how can I get involved? And if you get told no, keep coming back. Keep coming back if you really want it. If you really want it, you'll change that no to a yes.
Man,
You will do that yourself. That's the best way. That's the best advice that I can give anybody on anything. Get involved, but if it doesn't work out, that's life. It doesn't work out for everybody. But if you want it that bad and you work hard enough to get yourself seen, it could happen. But just know going into it, you got a 50-50 chance. It's not guaranteed. There ain't no guarantees in this world other than you're going to die. That's the only guarantee that you have in life. Outside of that, you got to make it for yourself. And the best way to do it is to get your face out there and get them looking at you. That's what I can tell you.
that's a lot more than I expected. So I appreciate that advice. Thank you so much.
Of course. Of course.
Is there anything you want to say to any of the viewers? A lot of people are going to see this because they know who Jeff Houston is. A lot of the fans know who Jeff Houston is. So I know I'm going to get a lot of views. Is there anything you want to say to your fans or BKFC fans in general?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank everyone who is a supporting member of the Loudmouth Nation. I wanted to bring that up, as we close things up, because the Loudmouth Nation, it means so much to me because not only is it my supporters, but anybody who's a part of the Loudmouth Nation is one of those individuals who knows what it's like to grow up as a loquacious talking person and have the world tell you, keep your voice down, shut up, you talk too
Oh,
much, and everything like that. That is also a safe haven for you guys, knowing that I got your back when it comes to if you've ever been through that kind of experience. If you've ever had anybody, tell you keep your voice down or shut up and you got tired of it. It's not a support group, it's support
yeah,
is what it is. And I support you and I support my fans. And I just say, stick with the growth. And another thing is, people stop being so damn pissed off that our premier events made the shift to DAZN. Okay, this is how a combat sports organization grows. This is how it works. We weren't going to stay on the BKFC app 100% of the time. We needed a different outlet for more eyeballs to watch them. And DAZN, I couldn't have thought of a better place for us for our first major collaboration outside of pay-per-view and outside of the BKFC app and Fubo Sports. I couldn't think of a better partner to have than DAZN because there's absolutely zero bare knuckle presence on DAZN. There's boxing, there's MMA, and there's other sports, but there's no bare knuckle presence. And if you actually go on to DAZN.com, there is a link specifically for BKFC. They don't have us worked into the format with MMA and boxing. We have our own presence that stands alone with DAZN, and I love that because a lot of other places they would have grouped us in, to sports. We have our own life on DAZN, and I love that. So you're still paying less than you would for other major combat sports when it comes to being a fan all year. So yeah, you got to do the BKFC app, and yeah, you got to do DAZN. That's not breaking the pocketbook.
No, it's
It
not.
isn't.
It's not.
It isn't. And you get a lot because not only do you get BKFC with DAZN, you get all the other premier programming that's on DAZN. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth and understand this is how we grow. And if we have to ask you to pay a little bit more, that's just how it goes, guys. We're only doing this because we want the sport to succeed and grow and rise. And everybody knows that when something rises, costs have to be taken
Yeah.
into account. That is the natural progression of business. It just is.
Jeez. Well, I gotta admit, I was one of those people. I mean, I still subscribed, but I was like, oh man, here we go. But yeah, I already knew. That's why I subscribed anyways. I was gonna complain, but I was gonna subscribe anyways because I like to support the promotion. I have
And
I have the
and we're
BKFC app.
not bleeding to dry. The thing is, Mr.
Oh,
Saturn, we're not bleeding you dry as a fan. We're
yeah.
not. We're not. We are not even. We are not even a. We're not even a part of your bill structure. No, we're not. We're not. If you're looking at your monthly bills, we don't even register
Yeah.
as a high payment on anything, and yet we're giving you this entertainment that we refuse to stop. We refuse to stop. We refuse to give you a mediocre product. Now, have we had problems with the app? Yes, we have. Yes, we have. Unfortunately, we have. It does come with the territory, unfortunately, as well. Because you also have to look at the overall bandwidth when people are watching. Sometimes it gets overwhelmed. Happened with Netflix when the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
Mhm.
The system was overwhelmed. They were not ready for the influx of people that were going to watch that. And unfortunately, they had a whole bunch of technical difficulties on a night where you shouldn't have had technical difficulties. But unfortunately, it is life. It happens every now and then, but we're doing our best. I do stress this. We are doing our best to remedy this situation and to make sure that this is the best bang for your buck when it comes to combat sports. And we really are. We really are doing that. This is not an insider speech that's prepared for me for the fans. No, we are improving, but it's not going to be perfect.
I'm just glad to be a part of it in any way I can. I'm so
And
happy
that's
that
that's what we want.
I got to interview you. I got to meet you. I got to meet some fighters. It's just I don't think I've ever been so excited to be a part of something like I am right now.
Love it.
And and yeah, I do too. So I just want to say thank you so freaking much for taking the time to hang
Of
out
course,
with me, bro. We're going like 2 hours, and it's probably the longest freaking interview I've done. And it's great because we're just chopping it up a little bit. So thank you
dude.
so much.
Dude, I'm a talker, which means that I usually don't have a time limit, and there's so
Yeah,
much of myself that I have no problem letting people know about
yeah,
me because dude, I'm just a human being walking the same ground like the rest of us. I just have a really fucking cool job.
yeah. You do. So you said that earlier, but I still get what's that word? I have an issue meeting people. Like you're famous to me, all right? Just take it. Starstruck. I
Okay.
get so starstruck when I meet people, who do stuff like that, And sometimes I'm like, damn, I hope I didn't make a fool of myself. But according to you, I'm doing it okay. So
No, you did fantastic. You did fantastic, dude. No complaints from Mr. Live Worldwide whatsoever.
I appreciate it so much. Before I let you go, I want you to do me a favor.
Okay.
Could you give us one of your your traditional ladies and gentlemen, your spiel, like if you were working. I want to get it recorded if you can for us.
Oh my goodness. Look at me. I give them the whole buffet and yet the
I still am
eating
warm.
the eating continues. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. Pushing the boundaries. That's fine. Oh, fine. That's all right. Live worldwide with Mr. Live Worldwide. I am here with Mr. Saturn. We are circling the rings of Saturn when it comes to anything BKFC. So if you guys are looking for the in-depth interview that that you're able to find out who's who and what's what, get on those rings of Saturn with Mr. Saturn.